Overthinking has cost me more than I was willing to spend. It has, in a sense, paralyzed and hindered so much growth over the years. Oftentimes getting caught up in the unknown and not knowing how to overcome it. I've realized that had I not been so consumed and so held down with overthinking so much that a lot would have gotten done. See, the problem with overthinking is that we get to a point where we fixate so much on the what can go wrongs, the what ifs, and all of those things that we tend to not get anything done. Overthinking hinders growth. It stops you from making certain moves because you're thinking about, well, what if this happened? You're running through all of these possibilities. And what I've learned and what I'm continuing to learn is that sometimes you have to silence that voice in your head. You have to silence the noise that is you, that is yourself, and just be on a relentless pursuit to accomplish the things that you set out. Because one thing about being a chronic overthinker is that you're gonna waste a day. You're gonna waste hours on end because that's all you focused on. And that's something that I've struggled with. Like I would literally have a plan, have things figured out the way I want them to go and what I want to do, and then literally sit still for hours on end because I can't stop overthinking. And then, you look up and hours have passed. It's just as bad as like endless scrolling on social media. So, what am I doing to fix that? What am I doing to change that? Instead of me writing down a plan, jotting down my ideas, and holding on to them to a specific day to do it, I'm not giving myself the time to overthink. I'm not giving myself a chance to get anxious and to talk myself out of it. I'm just doing it. So when I have a thought, instead of me sitting around and hoping and wishing and playing all of these, scenarios in my head, I'm just acting. I'm just going ahead and do it. And whatever the outcome is, the outcome is. I think that's something that's so important because if you give yourself too much time to think about things, you're going to talk yourself out of them. You're going to find an excuse and find a way to just not get it done. And then that's going to lead you to be even more anxious, more upset. And then that's going to also make you feel like, oh man, you know, I should have done that, whatever. Like you just gonna have this it's like this regret over time because you've talked yourself out of doing whatever it is that you were setting out to do. You know what I mean? So like as as time goes on, I think we have to understand that our fears and our worries are not going to go away. However, we have to become that person that's just like, you know what, look, you have to have that pep talk to yourself like, listen, regardless of what happens, I'm doing this. I'm moving forward with this. I'm not going to tap out. I'm not going to spend 5 hours overthinking. Overthinking is like binge watching a TV show because oftentimes, like, you have things to do throughout the day, but you get so caught up in this TV show that you don't get anything else accomplished. And that's what overthinking does. And I know for a fact that me overthinking over the years has cost me some opportunities. It's cost me, um, you know, valuable time. Just imagine you actually just like going with it, not being afraid, not worrying about um, the possibilities of things going wrong. My question is, and I ask myself this: what if it all just works out? What if, like, you just stop overthinking, you do it, and everything works out? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's where I am. That's how I plan just to navigate through this thing, because what I don't want to do is I don't want to waste more time. I feel like time wasted is time that you can't get back. You can get a lot of things back. You know what I mean? The idea's gonna come, more ideas are gonna come, but the time that you could have spent on that idea, the time that you could have spent doing the things that you set out to do, you won't get that back. You know, overthinking has caused sleepless nights. Because you spent the entire day overthinking about doing whatever it is that you set out to do, to the point that by the time nighttime comes, you're like, oh man, I wish I would have started that. You know what I'm saying? So now you can't sleep. And that's happened to me so many times, like being up just mind wandering about the possibilities had I just started. So now I'm restless, uninspired. Now I'm tearing myself down more than I should. Matter of fact, I don't even have a reason to tear myself down. And I think that's what happens with chronic overthinkers. I encourage you to just act. Don't have those sleepless nights. It's nothing wrong with planning and thinking about the possibilities, but don't let that hinder you. Don't let that slow you down and stop you. I think it's a beautiful thing to have an idea, to have a plan, write it down, and act on it as soon as possible. Don't give yourself time to worry about it. You write down a plan on a Monday, and then you schedule Friday as the day to act on said plan. Well, that's roughly what, 4 days that you're gonna have to literally worry and possibly talk yourself out of doing whatever it is. So maybe change the way you approach it. I think that's what's been wrong with me, is that I've had to change, and I'm changing the way I approach it. So if I have a plan that I want to do something like creating content, I plan it that Monday and I act on it that Tuesday. Or I plan it that Monday and I act on it that same day. That way I don't give myself the time to talk myself out of it, to worry, to stress. Because being a chronic overthinker is hard. It's not easy. So yeah, like I think it's time to make a move and to act and on the plans that you set out, versus constantly worrying and talking yourself out of things. So yeah, like, to all of the overthinkers out there, create a plan and act on the plan as soon as possible. Until next time, I appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of a Quick Little Word podcast. Make sure you check out the description for all of the links for all of the merchandise, my other socials. Check your boy out. I got some good things down there. Until next time, peace, love, and happiness.